Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Sunless Skies, where I've gotten us back to London here, obviously, and I've made a couple of changes. First of all, our stats are a lot better, so I spent some time in the shop, and I have refitted our engine with this Caminus Yard's Black Jape. It's a shotgun. If we compare stats real quickly here... so this has 20 damage with 30 heat at 400 range. You can see that the Cotterell and Hathersage Emanation actually does more damage on a full hit, but this thing has a little bit better heat ratio. We could use it quite a lot more. I figured the Mangonel was not really providing us a lot of value. It was basically just a worse version of this weapon, and this weapon is not really safe to use at close range, but this thing we can just spam the heck out of. We can fire it like 4 or 5 times in quick succession. I think we should be a little bit better suited for close combat now. We're still going to try to maintain a very Jubilee-focused strategy, but I think this is an upward move. So, let's move our ambition forward. Let us go back to our unseen queen. I guess we should search first. Search London's undercarriage for valuables. Probably nothing terribly bad will happen to us if we fail this. Okay, I think this is the text we saw last time we did this. A silver ring with a diamond in it, worth 50 sovereigns. I guess that's a good enough reward for a low-risk die roll. And then back to the queen. Back over the drawbridge, past the guard. So I've been thinking about this a little bit. I've been thinking about how much it makes sense for us to fight the illusory world. Or I guess... Sorry, to fight the world where we seem to be on a much older quest. Because at this point, maybe it's not safe to say which one of the two worlds is illusory. Or, honestly, which one of the more than 2 worlds is illusory. But I think Sister Patel would see this as an invasion. She would want to keep her head about her. Like, the number one thing that I think she would be concerned with in this situation is owning the cup, not being owned by the cup. So, we're going to try to keep our head straight. And be set by a nagging feeling that the world is false. Okay, good. We are seeing once again the heaps of tangled junk, the faded portrait. Is there a literal throne? By yourself? Yes, a scrap iron throne upon which sits a faded portrait. She is utterly alone. The only noise is the buzzing of flies and the squeaking of rats. Listen to me. When you're with rats, you are never truly alone. Okay, let us show her our quote-unquote cloak of the lion. You unfurl the dirty flag that you found entangled in a weather vane. A magnificent artifact, murmurs the unseen queen. Truly, the knight who wears this must surely be on the path to victory. Okay, 1,000 experience. How close are we to our next facet? 6,500 more. It's going to be a little while. And then also, I sat upon the blindness throne. You have no way of proving this, I'm just going to tell you I did, and now that I'm thinking about that, it seems like I could have just skipped this whole thing entirely, and just come back and told her this story. You tell the queen the tale of how you sat upon the blindness throne and walked away with your eyesight intact. She listens raptly. I imagine paintings do most things raptly. No doubt a story that will pass into the legend, says the unseen queen. And another step closer to proving you are worthy of the cup. In fact, it was the final step. I have now proven I am worthy of the cup. Okay, so where is it then? Can we maybe skip to the part where I get it? Well, I am proud of you, says the unseen queen. A circle of rats and beetles form at your feet, squeaking and chittering their approval. The next step is to find where the cup is hidden, says the queen. There is one other quester who knows, though she was imprisoned before she could tell me. She was one of the first and fiercest to embark on my quest. Alas, that was many years past. She has changed beyond measure since then. She can be found at the dread prison Piranesi, serving now as a chaplain. Go to her, and show her the cloak to prove you are worthy of the cup. Boy, it seems like you could have given me this information before, and saved me an awful lot of time. But alright, we already had reasons that we needed to go back to Piranesi, so I guess this isn't so bad. And with that, I think we should just leave. We did this already, right? It was when we described the illusory world that we were afraid of slipping into as a place where you pilot trains through the sky. I gotta say, the game has done a fantastic job of making me actually legitimately uncertain what's happening. Not in a way where it's just like, the writing is terrible and the plot, like, this plotting doesn't make sense, I just can't figure it out. But, like, it's clear to me the situation that is being presented, and I just don't know that I can say for certain which of the two things is occurring. This game has definitely got its hooks in me pretty well here. Okay, I don't think we have anything else to do in London. You can see I've refilled our crew. We have full hull. We are ready to leave. I wanted to be ready to leave. Okay, so we have a couple of things left to do. Let's go through our journal real quickly, actually, because it's been a little while. It's been, I guess, to lift the curtain a little bit, it's been like 5 or 6 days since I last played. I recorded the last 3 episodes all in one sitting, pretty much, I think. And I haven't touched the game since. I've been thinking about it a lot, but I haven't played in a while. So let's just refresh. We know what we're doing here. Politics and knavish tricks. Oh yes, just I'm in Parliament. We need to pick up a new street line passenger from Whorlbury and deliver them to Port Prosper. That's actually extremely doable. We have to go through Port Prosper anyway. Right, the bleak industrialist wants us to go to Sky Barnet. It turns out there's a whole quarter of the game's maps that we've never even seen here 40-something hours into it. The clay conductor wants us to go to the Blue Kingdom. The princess wants us to go to Piranesi, which we are now doing for a bunch of reasons. We were supposed to steal the navigator's friend's body from Eagles Empyrean, and we totally, we totally will next time we are back there. Our aunt wants to go to the mausoleum, which is something we can absolutely do. The repentant devil wants to go to the Well of the Wolf. Now, I have a very vague memory of thinking that the Well of the Wolf was in Albion. And maybe that's an assumption that I made based on the fact that he wanted us to go to London or something. Or maybe it was some actual text that we saw. But I think it's probably worth at least looking around here. It might have been something somebody told me in the comments, too. That happens. Apologies, by the way, if you've been giving me good advice in the comments and I'm just sort of like, it seems like I'm half remembering it or ignoring it. Don't take it personally. That's just how my brain is. Yeah, and then we don't have anything else terribly important. We're still looking for Lord Langley. I'm still trying to help the circus, but I didn't want to go back to Lustrum. Okay, so let's have a look around for the Well of the Wolf. Let's see if it is possible that the Well of the Wolf is still here. Actually, we should talk to him directly. Maybe he'll tell us. Yeah, okay. Let's ask about the Well of the Wolf here. Now, we've definitely seen this text before, and it does not tell us where the thing is. Okay. She died, as far as I know, in the fighting before the devils went to Caduceus and escaped the judgments. If she is less dead now, I would expect to find her at the Well of the Wolf. It's possible that there is information to be teased out here. The fighting before the devils went to Caduceus. Where, like, if we knew where that happened, then we might know where the Well of the Wolf was. Whatever, we'll just look around in Albion. So, I remember that there was some kind of big weird storm over here somewhere, and also to the west of the Home Bureau, I think. So why don't we try, since we have to go back past here to leave anyway, why don't we try coming down this way? We'll sweep through the Home Bureau, actually reveal all this area. I have to imagine that if we'd gotten very close to it, it would be marked on the map, because the well in Pan became marked on our map as soon as we actually saw the ability to interact with it, right? And I have been pretty thorough out here. Yeah, alright, we'll try sweeping through here, and then from there up to the mausoleum, and then to Whorlbury to pick up the passenger, and then we'll head back to the Reach, and from there to Pan. So let's try that, and let's not crash into anything right away. Look at that. It's almost like I'm some kind of expert at this. I certainly damn well should be, considering how many hours I've spent on this game. I gotta say, so I said like I haven't played the game in 5 or 6 days at this point. But man, I have been thinking about it. What am I doing here? Probably the best way to go actually would be like out here, so I guess let's turn on. Yeah, I have been thinking about it quite a bit. It's got a grip on me in kind of the same way that Cultist Simulator did, and I guess to some degree still does. And it's not like that urgent feeling. I don't know if everybody else gets this, but sometimes when I get into a new game, especially if it's a game that seems to have like pretty complex mechanics, when I dig into a new 4X or something, I'm just like, obsessed is strong, but maybe appropriate. Like, I don't want to do other things. If I have other stuff to do, responsibilities or anything, I'm very impatient with them. I'm like, come on, I want to get all this shit over with so I can get back to playing the game. I got to know about the game. I guess we can actually, yeah, we can come down like this. That'll give us the widest, most revealing path. And that's not what I'm feeling here. It's not like, oh my god, I gotta get everything else out of my way so that I can just play more of the game and sink my brain into it. It's just, it's always kind of there in the back of my mind. I feel like I'm always sort of slowly working through a problem. It is going to be a bit of a flight. Let's hope that the things I have to say about this take long enough to cover the distance. There's something about the aesthetics of the design. Not the aesthetics of the game itself, but the aesthetics of the design decisions, and particularly the way that the narrative elements and the gameplay, like, ludic elements are united. Like, in the way that a lot of the mechanics... Huh, that's a Tackety. What's a Tackety doing out here? You okay there, buddy? Is he guests? I'm watching him. I see a hint of purple. I'm blowing your ass out of the sky. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything terribly intelligent to say there. I was just... It has been slowly picking at me, and I have had a dream about it. Yeah, it's really something interesting. I certainly did not, when we started the series, expect to spend quite so many hours on it, and it seems like we're maybe still pretty far away from the end, actually. And yeah, I know, the map checking. I just can't help myself. So we definitely saw a bunch of big swirly storms. But I feel like when we got close to... Is it the Well of Dreams in Pan? When we got close to that well, we did not have to get very close to it before it appeared on our map. Before, you know, it filled in the name and appeared on the map. We may as well grab the box of supplies off of this guy, right? Yeah, I think deploying the canning equipment is the most sensible thing here. And I feel like we got pretty close to some of those storms. Like, I remember intentionally, like, driving around the edges of at least one of them, trying to see if there was a way to interact with it. So it is probably the case that none of the storms that we got close to were the... What does that sound? Oh, of course, it stops immediately. Alright, maybe it wasn't anything at all. Maybe it was entirely in my head. I thought I heard something pretty strange. I sure hope it was in the game and not just in my apartment. It's part of the downside of the hours I keep, is that I end up sitting here in the dark alone a lot throughout the middle of the night. Sometimes I hear a thing, and then I wish I wasn't quite so alone. And I mean, I'm not that alone. First of all, it's not a very large apartment. Elise is like probably 15 feet away from me. There's a wall between us, but she's right over there. Yeah, let's just do this again. But the degree to which I like to think of myself as a grown-up somewhat limits my ability to run into the other room and wake Elise up because I heard a scary noise. Well, we certainly have enough supplies now. Okay. The wells are pretty large. I am not going to miss it due to it being too close to the edge of the zone from here, I don't think. So we just sweep all the way along. I know we're going to gain a ton of terror passing by the home bureau, but we'll be alright. Sound of waves lapping at the shore. Okay, so hey, that's a good point. I've talked a couple of times about how I don't really feel like I have a good sense of what it is exactly that we're flying through. Like, is it space or what's going on? We have been told a couple of times that sound and smell carry through it. That would not be the case if it was a vacuum, right? Nope, that's the wrong dodge, damn it. Doing it again already. And even as my finger was going to press the button, I was like, yep, that's wrong. You're doing it wrong, you big idiot. So I've always, I guess we have some time here. I've always had trouble sleeping. Or rather, I've always had trouble controlling when I sleep. I started, like, left to my own devices, I started around, like, a 26-hour day. So I get my 8 hours of sleep pretty easily, but my body wants my 8 hours of sleep to slowly shift around the clock over the course of the week, which is difficult when you're in school or when you're working a 9 to 5. My bosses have not been super receptive to this idea. Or rather, I have assumed that they wouldn't be, and so I haven't even brought up the idea of, like, working my shifts a little differently. That means I spend a lot of time alone, because, like, people in the real world have things to do. Yeah, we're definitely doing this. You mean that's Searing Enigma. People in the real world have things to do on a kind of a rigid schedule. They are not available to hang out and play video games at 4 in the morning. And I've just, I'm fine with that. I'm cool with my own company, mostly. But I have to say, it does put a damper on my ability to play multiplayer games with people in a way that's really disappointing. And as I've gotten older, I just get, like, less and less okay with playing with strangers. I don't mind playing against strangers in a competitive game, but if I'm playing, like, Apex Legends or Dota or something, I don't want to have people I don't know on my team. Maybe that's just, like, some old man shaking his cane type stuff. But, whatever it is, whatever the reservoir of patience for other people that you're supposed to get when you're born is, I guess the machine was a little short the day that they built me. And they was like, nobody ever inspects these. Just throw them out on the road. It'll be fine. In my defense, part of this is that people do a lot of, especially on the internet, people do a lot of crappy things that one should not have to put up with. Like, for example, despite the way that I feel about playing games with strangers, I played a lot of Apex Legends in the first couple of weeks of it being out. And because my schedule is pretty uncontrollable, or rather I have elected intentionally not to control it, I did a lot of that by myself, just queuing with 2 strangers. In case you've never played it, it is played in teams of 3. There's no other way to play. So if you get in there alone, you just get put with some other people. And over the course of those first couple of weekends, I probably played it for like 10 or 20 hours, like a lot. But even considering that to be a lot of time, I was called a racial slur, what I would describe as a shocking number of times during that period. That's the kind of stuff that, like, I've gotten less good at just putting up with, just getting over as I've gotten older. But you know what? I don't really feel that bad about it. I don't feel like I should have to just put up with stuff like that. And, with Apex in particular, it was always people who had a Twitch TV URL in their username. Like, can you stream on Twitch and just call people racial slurs? Does Twitch get... I guess there's too many people streaming, and there's absolutely no vetting of any kind. So it's not like you would get caught, probably. I have to imagine the people who work at Twitch have some rules. I guess we live in the era of media companies putting together big terms of service describing what you can do on their platform, and then waiving those terms of service for people who want to be truly terrible for seemingly no real reason. You can tell I'm a little upset. But I have to imagine you could get kicked off Twitch, right? Oh wow, 3 Bronzewood. I don't think we've ever actually picked this option on the Senior Scriveners, right? I didn't realize that it was 3 Bronzewood. That's like almost 600 sovereigns. I'm still not clear on how the assaying glass works. Sometimes you just gain physical objects from looking through your glass at ruins. Maybe the idea is you look at the glass and see that the stuff is there and then send the crew over to get it. Seems odd, though. Okay, well, I mean, as long as we're here, we should grab the port report for the Home Bureau. Probably. I could have sworn, I thought I remembered there being a big storm here, and that's the reason that was unexplored. Huh. Maybe there was a big storm there, but it wasn't it was like a random occurrence thing, and it's not always present. Who knows? Wrap up warm, you'll catch your death. Yeah, I suspect I am going to catch my death out here someday, but it's probably not going to be from the cold. At least not directly. Alright, I don't think we have anything, like, actually interesting to do here. We could buy a caged catch, but I don't even know what we would do with it. Let's just listen to the preacher. This will remove some terror, right? Yeah, it totally did. Okay, give me a port report. Okay, this is his second mint. We're not interested in that. Also, we could take tea. I suppose I may as well just... Oh, that's right. This one's actually a pretty expensive way to lose terror. That said, money has almost no meaning or value to us at this point. Like, we have so much money and so many goods in our bank. Like, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to run out. Entertain a request from the acting senior probator. He's watching you from behind his desk and biting his lower lip. Clearly, he has something on his mind. Is this something we did as the archivist? Ah, he wants help in pardoning a detainee. Right, I remember this, actually. An evening of frivolity. Occasionally, the acting senior probator has a night off. Then the detainees are permitted to throw a small party. Huh. Okay, let's hang out and party with them. We gain some supplies. Biscuits, some of which are not stale, champagne, flat, and light ale, inexplicable, have been arranged on trestle tables. A few detainees wander around the drawing room, avoiding conversation. You are the life and soul of the party, in that you partake of the food and drink and manage to exchange at least pleasantries with the detainees. You listen to complaints of years wasted, of friends gone out to the cults on the quiet sea, of hours passed watching the gate, waiting for people who never come. It is a dreary affair. The champagne is intolerable. Okay, well, apparently we then took all of the biscuits, so... 3 point of supplies, hard to be mad about that. Let's deal with the probator's request, so we can interview the detainees. I remember this. The nun and the courtier and the handsome aristocrat. So I think last time we decided in favor of the nun, is that right? Let's see. Who would Sister Patel pardon? Hard for me to imagine it would be the aristocrat. I think she would have a lot of disdain for this dude. Wait, did we pardon the former courtier last time because we thought she might be useful? Hold on, let's talk to her real quick. She shuts a small hand mirror as you approach. Graying. I had a lovely mane when I arrived here. Red as June, they used to say. Was hoping to see the suns, but I suppose the palace hasn't forgotten. An MP I am acquainted with had promised it was all water under the bridge. It's possible that we pardoned her because we thought she might be useful to us, and I think that's definitely the tack that Sister Patel would take. Let's decide in favor of the courtier. I know we're kind of zooming through this, but we did investigate this event much more thoroughly last time. Yeah, 500 sovereigns, a cryptic benefactor, of which we now have 6. Many of them are actually earned by the archivist, right? Yeah, I think we're good here. Do we want to buy anything? There's some hours. Yeah, may as well get them on the cheap. And we certainly don't need any supplies. Alright, am I remembering correctly that the mausoleum sells both fuel? Okay, yeah, cool. So let's, I guess, just head over there. Huh. I could have sworn that there was a big storm to the west. Well, if it's not here... Again, I would expect that its name would have appeared on our map if we'd gotten close to it. So, like, where else could it really be? I guess there's this area over here. Maybe beyond Worldberry? I do wish he would just tell us. He seems to know where it is. It seems like he could just tell us. Try to get out of the way. Oh, good. Guests. I don't really want to fight him. I'm thinking maybe we just try to lose him around the corner here. I don't want to interact with the Avid Horizon, with the people on the boats. We have places to be. We have important things to do. Okay. Yeah, I sure as hell don't want guests on my ship. And apparently we're not going to be able to finish that guest weapon? I don't know what happened to that quest. Maybe it sort of quietly broke under the hood. I will say, though, we see a lot of things that can only be interacted with the assaying glass, and it really has given us a lot of stuff. We've definitely got our money's worth from it. Okay, one last thing on the racial slur stuff before I leave that topic aside. Maybe... Oh, hold on. Something to crave. Maybe this is just me because I know myself, and as such I associate my voice with myself very easily. But one thing I really don't understand with the racial slurs is I think I sound very white. Like, I think I sound white enough that they ought to know that those slurs don't even really make sense in that situation. Although, that's probably not actually the point of them. You know, a 13-year-old doesn't do things that would make his mother upset because they're the right things. He does them because they would make his mother upset. That'll show her. Hey, the fuel was an awfully nice find there. I don't remember what this horror is. Hold on, does this have a name? What was this? I wonder if this is the Well of the Wolf. Let's go over there and have a look at it. We're in pretty good shape. I think we could afford a little bit of danger at this moment. Well, there's some very lively combat going on over here. It sounds to me like maybe a juggernaut fighting two grave robbers or something. Look at that, homing in. That is actually a really nice feature. No, no, don't you dare. Okay, we'll just distract them. Oh, that's right. The horror over here is the blown up planet that the Most Serene Mausoleum is built above. Shoot. Okay, there we go. Alright. Just you and me now, buddy. Well, that's quite a lot of damage, actually. This weapon was a fine upgrade. Okay, should we strip it for parts? I mean, we haven't gotten a lot of good stuff from them, but we don't necessarily know that that it's the case that there isn't good stuff to get. How much hull do we have left? 79? Yeah, let's strip him for parts and we'll get loot from the other one. That was actually very fortuitous. Turned out really well. Okay, so this is the dreadnought. Do we want to raid the hold or raid the engine's lockbox? It is on the captain's desk. I'm pretty curious about what the captain felt was important enough to put in a box. Oh, an invitation to perderance. Inside, after some deft work with the bolt cutters, are a series of documents. Crisp, white, ministry-stamped documents. Some are promissory notes, exchangeable in all reputable ports in the skies. Another is an invitation to the eternal masque on Perderance, where London's finest dwell within a single day. Boy, that invitation is way more straightforward about what Perderance is than any of the stuff that we learned about it before we went there. Alright, let's just search for valuables, because we're in pretty good shape now. Small hold has been turned into a meat locker. Within, corpses are strapped to tables. You close the door and look elsewhere. A false compartment contains fabrics torn from the dead. Winding sheets and burial gowns and Sunday best. You take the most obviously expensive. Yeah, that's a pretty valuable piece of loot there. Man, do I want to go all the way? No, you know what? I don't. I don't. It's almost certainly just a thing that's worth a little bit of money. I don't think I care. I will say that this is an unsettling thing to be flying above. And swing through here and maybe drop a little bit of terror. And I'm going to endeavor not to strike any of the coffins. Okay, our hearts is getting to a place where... never mind. A hush falls as coffins pass by the windows. The silence is broken by an insistent scraping against the hull. One of the coffins has floated too close. A few words are necessary to assuage your crew's unease. You remind all present that if it were not for the competence and efficiency of all aboard, a cold grave in the sky might have been all your fates. 10 hull, damn. I feel like we've been hit with actual weapons designed to kill trains that have done less than 10 damage. This is a hell of a coffin we ran into there. kind of want to kill that guy, but I'm not going to chase him. But it sounds like he's found someone else to fight. And those dreadnoughts are not careful with their targeting. Get him, I got him distracted for you. There you go, that's what teamwork looks like right there. Man, why won't you die? There we go. I will say the individual projectiles from our new shotgun really don't do a ton of damage. It looks like there's 6 of them, so they're doing 5 each. I mean, the whole shot... Oh no, it's 20 total damage, not 30. I was going to say, the whole shot's supposed to do the same as this, but no, it is less. I still wish we could find whatever the gun is that the dreadnoughts are using. This is a bad angle to fight from. I'm trying to make sure that I don't get accidentally shot to pieces by the dreadnought. Kill steal. Aw. I think I still got him. Don't shoot me. I was helping you. I'm still helping you. I'm helping you loot this. Obviously, the loot would be too heavy for you to carry home entirely by yourself. Alright, good. Yes, friendly. Okay, and it seems like it's a really good thing that we didn't start any shit, because I don't really want to fight one of those. Let's get in here in this mausoleum. I think they're already going into combat again. I think I heard fighting over there, but... Alright. I hope we can rely on your crew's discretion. Listen, lady, you've been with this train longer than I have. They're pretty much your crew. Alright, well, I suppose we could attend a funeral real quick here, just lose a little bit of terror. And then, port reports, obviously. And then, actual business. What is the problem we're having here? We have to earn a favor before we can do this. Well, I guess let's do that then. Does the... Oh, the engraved mourner's here. 66% chance of success. I'm not actually sure. Do we still get the favor if we fail this roll? Oh well. Turns out it doesn't matter. Turns out we are great at everything. The mourner is a vision in white. A clay man. His skin is alabaster. His curls are spectral. His thin winding sheet pallid. Candlelight dances on the polished marble. Unlike the other courtiers, the footmen pay him no heed. Today he is testing the integrity of the nave's vaults. He notices your gaze and requests you hold a ladder, made of reinforced steel, for him, as he needs to reach the top of the pillar beside you. If I fell, I'd shatter, he says, before mounting the ladder. It sways with the weight of him, but your grip is steady. He rewards you with a dazzling smile on his descent, sometime later. That doesn't really seem like it should have been a hearts roll. Okay. So... Find the Privy Councillor's tomb. Your aunt wants to find the final design for the unclear bomb. It'll prove collusion, or, she adds hopefully, provide exoneration. Someone in the mausoleum might be able to help. The luminous cardinal tracks you down as you make enquiries of the footman. His vestments are as pale as a winter dawn. This way, he whispers. He leads you deep into the chambers of the mausoleum's heart. The hallways here are lit only by candlelight. At last you arrive at a narrow archway that looks down on a long spiral stair. The Privy Councillor is buried below. His funeral was ostentatious. He was accorded the second largest tomb. I began wondering... it is blasphemy. May God have mercy on all your souls. The cardinal strides away into the gloom. Boy, if I had a nickel for every time a religious person had said that to me while striding away from me. There is one tomb at the foot of the stairs. It is vast as a Gothic cathedral, and must occupy an entire wing of the mausoleum. It is almost entirely shrouded in darkness. The light from your lamp struggles against the tides of gloom. Her Majesty's Privy Councillor must have taken the design to the grave, we hope, You know, I'm just pretty much trusting her judgment on this. You walk forward into the darkness, reaching out for obstacles. Your hands disappear before you as though swallowed by night. Your aunt vanishes as though she never was. You brush against stone as cold as death's lips, feel cobwebs upon your face, but can see nothing. Inch by inch, you press on. Suddenly, a familiar voice splits the darkness. Are you there? I found it! Your aunt's voice is quiet. She sounds scared. I did not do a good job of sounding scared. It would be good if I, read all of this with my eyes before reading it with my mouth. Okay, well, she's found something, if we can find our way to her in this gloom. You find her by feeling your way around the curvature of the wall, back toward the center of the crypt. Your aunt is just ahead of you. Don't make any sudden movements. I found it. The designs? The unclear bomb. Your hands are on it. You remove your hand from the wall immediately. The Privy Councillor's tomb has been taken up with the dormant unclear bomb. The weapon devised by London to kill a sun. The device to quench stars, drowning them in sorrow. Why is it still here? Why hasn't it been used? Your aunt tugs at your sleeve. Let's get out of here. Slowly. You know, if we could get a hold of this thing and take it to Pan... I'm not saying that it would necessarily be a good idea to blow up the sun in Pan, but I am saying, hey, remember that big bloody eyeball? Maybe the universe would be a better place if that thing wasn't in it, right? Okay, I think we should leave. And maybe never come back to Albion? Because this seems like a serious problem. Oh hey, another 2000 XP. You help your aunt find her way through the darkness, back to the spiral stair that leads into the more welcoming chambers of the mausoleum. You stub your toe and your aunt trips several times, but together you manage. We'll talk back on board, your aunt says when you reach the top of the stairs. Her skin is ashen, but her expression is stern. So we have the location of Albion's sun-vanquishing weapon. I mean, it seems like they were able to vanquish the sun here without it, is probably the main reason that it wasn't used. They didn't need it. Okay, maybe we should bounce, because it feels like we have some important stuff to focus on here. Hey, about that bomb, I have a number of questions that it seems like you might be in a position to answer. Your aunt looks up an ancient, battered etiquette book. This is from my school days, she says with a wistful smile. Her focus sharpens. We need to know why London colluded with the revolutionaries to build this dreadful weapon and then didn't use it. There were 4 people at the rendezvous. 2, well, 3 now, are dead. There's only one person who can give us the answers we need. Her renewed majesty. Your aunt barrels on. There's an old protocol we could take advantage of. If we had a royal dispensation, we could use the privilege of an answer to get an audience. The sovereign is behoven to answer one question truthfully. Do we still have our royal dispensation? Did I use it? Because we definitely got one at some point in exchange for something. Oh, I don't remember. Would it be in our possessions? We do, in fact, still have it. Okay, well, back to London, then, I guess. I mean, let's swing by Warlbury first. Let's stick to the plan a little bit. But, boy, that seems like a momentous thing. To be perfectly honest, maybe more momentous than anything that ever happened to the Archivist. By the way, I'm choosing to believe... I know I keep saying your aunt. Oh, I didn't buy fuel. We gotta go back and buy fuel. I know I keep saying your aunt. I'm choosing to believe that this is the Archivist's aunt. They had no direct relation to Sister Patel. But she's just very attached to that train life at this point. She's not willing to go back. Okay, I need a whole bunch of stuff. Also... Oh... We had seeds for the mausoleum. I forgot to do this. Okay. Maybe we'll change things up a little bit then. First of all, let's buy these. Secondly, let's buy a bunch of fuel. And maybe we should go back to London now. Then pick up our seeds, because I didn't, right? Yeah, I totally didn't. Okay. Yeah, we'll go back to London, we'll pick up our seeds, then we'll come back here, drop off the seeds, and then go to Warlbury. And that means that we can cash in this royal dispensation right now in a way that is perhaps a really bad idea. Okay, so, like, up and around like that, I guess. There's a space over here that could potentially... We'll fly through that on our way to Worldberry, and we'll check out what this is near Purderance. I'm so certain. I'm not certain that the Well of the Wolf is in Albion, but I'm so certain that I read that it was. I wish my memory was better. There's probably things you can do. There's probably like exercises or something. You train yourself. You know, all that Mind Palace stuff. Who has time to build a whole palace? I have all these video games to play. Also, my memory... I know my memory is not, like, bad in a general sense. It's just that I can't really control which things it does choose to remember. Because there's definitely some stuff that I remember very clearly for a very long time, even though it is completely trivial. I'm trying to get a good shotgun angle here. Well, maybe we're using the other one then, I guess. Aha, I am somewhat better at that than you are. Did almost get myself shot as I was saying that, which I guess would have served me right. Also, we should probably cash in this facet, huh? That was too close. Oh no, okay. I'm actually taking damage. I'm really glad I got out of my habit of constantly overheating. Maybe it was a little bit more reasonable with the tank now, but with our weapons now, we don't need to fight that way. Okay. Search for valuables. Am I not at full hull? No, I am 4 points short. Your search turns up an array of valuables retrieved from the dead. Cufflinks and brooches, rings, wedding, engagement, signet, and ear. Tie pins and hairpins, gold-rimmed spectacles, and silver-plated belt buckles. You also find a cupboard full of skulls. Memento mori for the death-haunted aristocracy of Albion. If I had a bunch of skulls, to be fair, not to be judgmental of this dude, I would keep them in the cabinet, obviously. Okay, what do we need? Veils and mirrors. Mirrors more than anything, I think, because our iron has sort of gotten out of control and overtaken it. So I don't think this happened to Sister Patel. I kind of want to take this for the stat points. But, like, this story of this does not fit. What is pestilence? Since arriving in the heavens through the avid horizon, you have contracted an unlikely illness. Oh, turning slowly into glass. Oh, this is a hearts thing, though. We don't want all these hearts. You know what? I'm going to take the interlude in red and gold, and we're just going to ignore the text. I am taking this as... this. I did learn to lie. You lost your mind. They put you in a splendid hotel managed by cheery gentlemen who would determine when you could leave. See, with the specificity of these, I do feel like, especially given the large number that you get over a character's career, I do wish there were more of them. Yeah, basically we're just taking that as Sister Patel is good at lying. Because if each character can potentially get 20 of them, it seems like there's maybe only 35 or 40. And some of them are quite broad. Some of them are like very vague and will allow you to interpret them in several ways, but also a bunch of them are much less vague. So I just sort of wish there were more. And clearly, it's not an issue of them being mechanically separate from one another, because there's a whole bunch of them that are mechanically identical. Seems like it would not necessarily be a terribly difficult thing to craft more of, but maybe I've had an unusual experience of the game, getting 2 characters to almost full. Like, the overlap between multiple characters is maybe not a common issue. Maybe maybe it doesn't take people all the way up to level 20 to finish their story, usually. Or, to be perfectly honest, maybe most people never play a second character. I know that that's a lot more common in games than I would have thought. The era of Steam achievements and developers being able to track people's progress has led to some interesting revelations about what video game playing is like for most people. Apparently, it's very common among gamers to just like not finish games, just play like the first 20% of the game and then never come back to it. It's important to remember, I guess in general, not to generalize your own proclivities and experiences as things that people have. They are things that you have. It may turn out that the experience most people are having is something very different indeed. Oh dear. A junior signaler is discovered in the hold amidst a pile of dissected books. She's cutting out words and grouping them in clusters to represent a new system of linguistic categorization. Hey, let's all not think too hard about the narrative. We can afford to just issue some extra brandy. Everybody just take it easy. We're like 8 feet from the dock. If you want to have a freak out, have it while away on leave. Okay. Very, very first thing. Steam and Sapphire Yards. Visit the bookkeeper, turn in our port reports, and repair the tiny, tiny amount of damage to our train. Do we need more Savage Secrets? I have 8 now. We only have 1 unlicensed chart. It might turn out that we want more of these. Okay. Spend the 12 sovereigns. Okay, I guess let's go see the Queen now. There's only one person alive who can answer your aunt's question about the unclear bomb. Boy, this just seems like a crazy thing to do. Black and gold and glory. The throne of ours rises above the smog of London like an imperial cathedral. False sunlight reflects from it, clear as cut glass and pitiless as dawn. Your dispensation gets you into the Clockwork Court, where courtiers are permitted to attend upon the imperial presence. Courtiers outfitted in the imperial colors of black and gold survey you with a mixture of curiosity and fear. New blood is the engine of change at court, and change is the enemy of security. The royal chamberlain sweeps you through the court and into the throne room itself. Time stills to a hush as the great doors close behind you. Silence falls like a curtain over a stage. Your footfall is too loud on the polished marble. The throne is ahead, towering over you in all its splendid immensity. Its myriad glass surfaces shimmer like falling water. Within, you see yourself reflected, as you once were, as you ought to be, and as you will never be. There is a chair at the top of the throne, a much smaller throne. A figure sits on it. Inscriptions in the correspondence smolder in its base. It's not what you came here for, but perhaps it has antiquarian interest. Yeah, I'm actually very curious. This would be so much more interesting to the archivist, though. Hurled sigils scintillate across the glass. The imprints flow like spilt wine. Each symbol lights a fire behind your eyes like the afterglow of a sunset. The last few sigils are isolated, discreet, and each has impacted on the throne like the descent of a comet. You record what you can before your vision is lost to the smoking after-images of the language of the stars. Okay, maybe that'll be useful in the future. So I feel like in a lot of these plot lines, a lot of the plot lines have sort of been self-contained, right, where the things we learn in them are only meaningful within that context, but the things that are inscribed on the throne in London, this has to be meaningful outside of just this quest, right? Alright, let's ascend the really big throne and see what's going on in this smaller throne. A wide stair of mirrored glass runs the height of the throne, allowing access to Her Renewed Majesty's seat. Okay, well, I'm not here for all that noise. Your aunt is ahead of you, her sensible shoes clattering against the glass as she climbs the vast banisterless stairs toward the throne of Queen Victoria, Her Renewed Majesty. You'd best hurry if you want to catch her. We're gaining terror very rapidly here. You approach the apex of the throne. Below you, the fanciful machinery of ours. Above, the throne of Victoria. Your aunt hesitates before reaching for your hand. Together, you approach Her Renewed Majesty. Her Renewed Majesty, Empress of Albion, the Reach, London, and the soon-to-be-conquered territories, Victoria, Queen of Britannia, surveys you. She raises a hand, flush with youth, beckoning you forward. Okay, it's gonna make me scroll myself. It's been a long time since anyone's requested the privilege of an answer. Her eyes are like the formation of diamonds. One had thought it had been stricken from all the new books. Your aunt allows herself a quick, satisfied smile. Your Majesty, we found the unclear bomb. It's unused. I must surmise that we did not kill Albion's son. Thus, we did not claim Albion by conquest, and owe the revolutionaries no debt. She pauses and draws a deep breath. Am I correct? Victoria laughs. Her laughter is bright. Oh, well done. Yes, we enlisted help, but the situation on the ground turned out to be quite different from what we'd expected. We've been keeping the bomb hidden, however, for a rainy day. She leans back on her throne. So, now that you know all that, you will answer a question of one's own. What are you planning to do with the information? That is interesting. Okay. So, between these two options, keep it hidden and reveal the truth, I think that Sister Patel almost certainly would do the latter. Right? She's not as exaggeratedly obsessed with truth and information as the Archivist was, but she still does care, right? She came to read the Song of the Sky for a reason. And this, as an opportunity to sort of put her thumb in the eye of the Queen, would be unavoidable. That said, there is no way on Earth or in any of the places above it that she would tell the Queen that to her face. That's suicide. We will keep it hidden, I say. Her renewed Majesty smiles indulgently, as one would at a tame bird mimicking speech. One does appreciate patriotism. It's such a rare quality. Everybody wants something from one. She rises from the throne. Her face is lost in the rays of light from the clockwork sun which seep through the window behind her. Not that anyone's motivations matter so much anymore. One is timeless. One's dominion is history itself. Chronology bows before one. One is eternity's mistress. She smiles, serene and radiant. She waves her hand. You are dismissed. I feel like that should have gained me more than 10 terror. Okay, I think leaving is good now. Her renewed Majesty looks on with unseeing eyes. Timeless, deathless, enduring. Time is her dominion, and this its cost. Okay, we've learned everything we're going to learn here. Let's bounce. One more terror for the road. Your aunt needs no encouragement. She offers a hasty curtsy to her monarch and makes for the monumental glass stair. You follow in her wake, descending the vast and banisterless stair as fast as you're able. Your aunt's grip is rigid as she marches you from the throne room, her fingers trembling and her pulse racing in her wrist. We'll talk back on the engine, she whispers. Yes, I think we will. I think that we have some things to discuss. She's been very quiet since meeting the Queen. This will transform your inconvenient aunt into your spy master aunt, a quartermaster who increases iron by 10 and affiliation establishment by 2. Let's talk about what we saw scored into the throne of ours. I would imagine Sister Patel is a lot less familiar with the correspondence than the Archivist was. You have a quiet few hours as your locomotive wends its way through the skies. Nothing is currently on fire. You could take the opportunity to perform some light translation. Whatever was scorched into the throne of ours must be significant. The last testament of a doomed son? Oh, hey, that's a new word. How is that word pronounced? Panegyric. Yeah, okay. A panegyric, a public speech or published text in praise of someone or something. A panegyric to its temporal potency? A secret taken to its ashen grave? Translating the correspondence is always risky. These are the sigils of a son. There is grave danger in attempting to understand. I think that's a really good encapsulation of everything that's happened over the course of this entire series. Well, better than a coin flip, right? We are in port. If part of the engine blows up, we'll be able to fix it. I'm going to click the button. Let's try it. Let's give it a swing. Oh, that's not good. That's not the good sound. With pen, paper, and a hardback copy of Dulford's compilation, you subject your transcription to a merciless interrogation. You use a magnifying glass at several points until it melts entirely. Much of the writing is a panegyric to the judgment of ours, a catalogue of its deeds and dominions, its provinces, holdfasts, and vassals, its triumphs over time's lesser potentates. The final burnt lines employ sigils used nowhere else on the throne, a warning, a message. Time offers no surety against death. Your writing desk erupts in vivid smoke, blue and gold and incandescent. Your crew pull you from the azure fire, but your desk is lost. You have made a passable translation of the sigils scorched out of the throne of ours. That has to be worth something. Also, we've gained a ton of terror, which we will have to deal with. Okay, I think we should probably do this. So what is she giving us right now? 6 iron, 1 affiliation establishment, and 2 mirrors. So we'll lose 2 points of mirrors in exchange for 4 points of iron. But it will also mean that she's like, her whole thing is unlocked for future characters, and we do still sort of intend for there to be a future character. Yeah. Let's have a chat with her. You catch your aunt burning papers in the boiler room. Care for tea? She asks, leading you to her cabin. She gets out her best service. I was relieved to speak to the Queen. Our sovereign's prescience alone kept us from being in thrall to the revolutionaries. A lump of sugar settles in her teacup. It seems the Albion government has been lax, getting into messes, and worse, shoddiness when attempting to cover them up. Her eyes gleam behind her spectacles. I shall have to come out of retirement. Her Majesty needs me. Though, I'll still have time to help you out here, of course. Okay, 4,000 more experience. You know, the extra point of affiliation establishment is also useful. Affiliations actually seem to be really important, and I'm wondering if advancing your crew is maybe that's the most important thing you get from advancing your crew is the extra affiliation points. Okay, well, I guess we're good here. It's not possible for us to easily lose terror just in London, right? Yeah. Okay, well, we're headed from here to Worldbury. We'll definitely be able to do it at Worldbury. So I guess let's just buy ourselves a bunch of fuel and supplies. Sorry, we're not headed directly to Worldbury. Okay, bank. We have a lot of stuff to drop off in the bank. We have so much money if we wanted to cash it all in. Hold on, at this point, how close am I to being able to use the Dreadnought? 64. He requires 75. Yeah, I would really love to get him as our scout. It's hard to get to 75 mirrors. Alright, let's have a look at our officers. Can we swap people around a little bit? So we've been using the Judicious Driver. We could swap over to the Revengers. That doesn't actually help our mirrors. She has 6 mirrors and 2 hearts. So we would lose some hearts. Do we need those points of hearts? No, it would not drop us past 25. He gives iron and veils. That's not a big deal. Okay, we'll set her as the first officer for now. So we still have enough hearts to use our stuff, and we are now 5 points short. A single facet could put us over. Or finding another crew member who is available in one of the other slots who gives mirrors instead of the stuff that we're currently getting. Presumably, there are more crew members out there yet. Okay, so we're taking seeds. Oh, we actually don't have a lot of seeds. And there's not really anything I can do about it. Okay, well, I guess we're not going back there. We're just going straight to Worldbury. So yeah, we were not able to make use of that transcription in any way during that quest. It is for something else. I think our plan is going to be to come out this way. Like we still need to actually see what that horror is. I found that off camera, presumably. Wait, I don't want to go below just yet. Yeah, I found that off camera, presumably, and I probably did not feel any particular need to investigate it. This guy's behaving in a way that's making me kind of nervous. Why is he just, like, bouncing back and forth like that? We're probably actually gonna, we're not in a great place to be gaining a bunch of terror, I guess. Whatever. We don't have to be too close to it. Maybe I'm gonna go to Whorlberry first. We'll go to Whorlberry first. We'll chill out. We'll eat some rubbery lumps, which for some reason is a thing that calms us down. And then we'll go and investigate the horror. I don't know exactly what happens if we hit 100 terror, but it can't be good, right? It has been suggested to me that it might be lethal. And I could see that being the case. They do, when your terror gets high, they do give you opportunities to just shed a bunch of it in exchange for other things. So 100 terror being lethal would not be, I think, too brutal. Like 100% your fault if you get to 100. But that's why we're going to choose to just be a little careful here. Also, don't we have... Hold on a moment. Don't we have a facet that has to do with Whorlberry because of what the Archivist did? I thought I remembered that we took something. You are marked by an old exchange between one that was human and one that was not. Okay, we can't see the text of these. It has been foretold that we will die in the skies. A couple of times, in fact. But you know, we haven't been to Whorlberry with this character yet, so I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to work, but it's really the only place in this part of the sky that we have the opportunity to lose a bunch of terror easily. Yeah, Sister Patel, not a great captain, actually, it turns out. It is very fortunate. Okay. You know what? You've never actually fought one of these things. I'm going to try. They're not great at chasing. I think we could lose it if we had to. That did not. Okay, actually, that's fine. I was going to say we did not get far enough away from it, but we didn't actually take any damage there. Can you kill whatever this is with conventional weaponry? No idea. No idea. I could totally see how the answer to that question might be no. Pretty good at hitting it, though. Okay. It doesn't actually do a lot of damage as long as we stay on the outside of the explosion. And we're hitting it okay. No indication at all of how much damage it can take, unfortunately. Okay, we actually did kill it. I'm hoping that one of the options on the piece of loot here will be to significantly drop terror. A scorn fluke defeated. The gelatinous flesh spasms. Its broken spines rattle. Its piping grows doleful. The fluke is dying. Drag the remnants of the victims off the spines and collect their shattered treasures. This will grant otherworldly artifacts and gain you insight into scorn flukes. I was mostly interested in that because that kind of looks like a weapon. We can use the spines to reinforce the damaged hull, fix things up a little bit. Create the Wrath of Heaven. As you look upon the spasming remains of the scorn fluke, you remember an idea that has seethed in your dreams of late. A contrivance. No, a weapon. This will give you a large weapon. What do we have to do? Unlocked when nightmares is awful. Oh! You have to have had a terrible nightmare about the horror that you will create. That's very interesting. I kind of think we want to tear off a trophy. No, I want insight into scorn flukes. We're going to drop our terror anyway, right? Like, we're on our way to lose terror. Let's try this. Damn it. I am very bummed out about that. Its unhuman music rages and sobs. The polyphonic scream brings your crew to shuddering tears. Discipline keeps them working. They are careful to maintain distance from the oozing gray exquisite, yet an expulsion of viscous flesh spatters a stoker. It is several hours before he stops shouting, the fury passing as abruptly as it began. So we gained 10 more terror, unfortunately, and one commingling of choirs, we have heard the last song of a scorn fluke. Huh. We've certainly heard the song of the chorister bees. I fought a whole bunch of chorister bees. Off camera, between episodes, you know. We're flying around the Reach. You fight bees sometimes. This is a thing that happens. I wonder if we could advance the Clayman plot by hearing a bunch of different types of singing. Hold on a second. Because we have the option of singing ourselves, didn't we? Yeah, attempt clay singing. So you have a moment of inspiration. Your knowledge of the clay choirs is limited. Huh. Oh yeah, I totally forgot that we have the option to attempt to fire the clay conductor in our kiln. Apparently, that's the thing we'll think about a little bit more. Definitely something that bears some consideration. The thing on the mantelpiece. Let's burn it. Let's burn the thing. Or we could have a nightmare intentionally. We can have a nightmare intentionally on our way to crafting a weapon of some horrific destruction. You know what? Maybe Sister Patel she's just not handling all this quite as well as she had hoped. Smash it. It will trouble you no more. I think we know how to get rid of nightmares, too. I think there was an option in Magdalen's. So if this turns out to be a thing that it really sucks to have, we could probably deal with it. 3 purposeful blows with a lump hammer, and the artifact lies in pieces. You sweep the remains away. The crew are pleased. Yours weren't the only dreams the artifact had insinuated itself into. When next you dream, you are in a field of violet chrysanthemums. The artifact is there too, no longer discreet, but vast. Vast as the face of a mountain, its shadow wide as night. Your terror has fallen, in a manner of speaking. Your nightmares are now disquieting. A sudden disquiet. Hey, remember how disquieting those nightmares were? As you attend to your paperwork, you feel the insistent crawl of watchful eyes on the back of your neck. No one is behind you. It would be impossible, ridiculous, to even entertain the notion that someone is behind you. And right now, in real life, I am physically restraining myself from looking over my shoulder, because now I have that feeling, despite the fact that I know there can't possibly be. I mean, but should I look? I'll be honest with you, I did. I did just look in real life. Surprise, there's nobody back there. By turning your head, you'd be acknowledging that it's possible that someone's behind you. Which it isn't. So you won't, right? But no, I'm definitely gonna look, though. As it turns out, there's no one there. Just an empty room, and a window offering a view onto the star-sprinkled void. Is someone clinging to the hull outside, peeking through the window? Surely not. Yet, when you return to your paperwork, you once again feel watched. Okay. We'll just close the window, is all. We'll just close the window. When you close the blinds, you feel a momentary relief. It doesn't last. The sense of scrutiny returns, crushing and inescapable, until you drop your pen and reach for the whiskey. Okay, so is that what nightmares do? They just cause you to gain terror at random times? You trade out a bunch of terror now for potentially a much larger amount of terror over the course of the game? Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure we saw an option at Magdalen's to treat our nightmares. I think we can deal with this if it turns out to be totally crippling. I cannot remember if this character has ever been to Warbury. I think she hasn't. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember exactly how we got started here. I seem to remember our first trip in was free. And I think we have some uncanny specimens to trade for tickets. Okay. The Mists of Woolbury. Let us join the Song of the Mists, because for some reason this calms us, despite the fact that it is, always a little unsettling. The song spills from your lips. There are no words in it, but as your voice rises with the others, there is a sense of belonging. Gradually, the mists ebb. The song stills. A woman exclaims with joy and holds up her right hand. The mists have left her a gift, a pink new finger sprouting beside her thumb, Your terror has fallen, for some reason. Okay, I am permitted to enter. So let's take our free... Oh, no, I have to pay. Well, we don't have a lot of use for uncanny specimens. Oh, man. What would be the outfit that Sister Patel would want? A dress? A dress shirt? A finely tailored coat? A skirt? Or maybe kilt or bustle or breeches? Fabulous footwear. You know what? I think Sister Patel is a little bit on the short side and a little bit sensitive about it, and she would love some tall footwear. She doesn't wear tall shoes in real life because she thinks that would be drawing attention to it. That would be like looking sensitive about her height, and she's not willing to do that. But here, in this place, maybe we could wear some footwear that is ludicrous enough that the height of it would go unnoticed. That's the least interesting thing about it. It is the couturier who goes to his knees, latticing your footwork between his long fingers. In the frame of his black-on-black eyes, your reflection is that of a stranger's, wild and otherworldly. A personal touch, is all he says. The couturier does not permit you to rise, nor does he allow you to pick your shoes. Instead, he ferries you options to sit through. High heels, sensible clogs, equestrian boots in the softest leather, open-toed slippers, sandals teased together from gold wires. Sounds like that would not be super comfortable to walk on. When he is finally satisfied, he considers you for a long moment. He turns to a wardrobe and hands you several garments, all your size. Once you are dressed, he dismisses you, shooing you into Whirlberry Juxtamare. Okay, so we gotta pick up our new street line passenger. We gotta write ourselves a port report. We gotta not think too hard about the strangeness of the lanes. And just, stop at the charming tea room. So I think the plan here is we will just succumb to the wiles of a... This is one of the most unsettling sentences I've ever read in a game. I don't know what it is exactly about it. It's just every time I say it or read it, I get a little shiver down my spine. That combination of words has some kind of power. Alright, we're just going to do this. We're not going to do a second run-through. Well, we still have 14 terror? No, we're not going to do a second run-through. Alright, let's go ahead and leave. Wow. Things that glide through Whirlberry's ghostly sea of mist are not, let's face it, fish. But if we call them fish, we don't have to think about what they actually are. Recently, a school of them was found grounded on the port's pebbled beach. What a sight it was, a local remarks wistfully. Stars a shining on their membranous wing fins, their mouths all gulping for the vapors. Yeah, sure, let's just take a bunch of those on the train. Can't see how that could go wrong. We'll buy ourselves just a little bit of supplies. Okay, let's go investigate that horror. And then once we've done that, I'll probably call the episode there and fly us back through the Reach, and then pick things up once we're back at the relay into Pan. Because I don't think we have anything terribly interesting to do in the Reach. Man, I really do hope this is the Well of the Wolf. Maybe we should check over here. Let's check over there first. Since we're over here, we may as well. And if we pick up any more serious terror, we could always just swing back through Whirlberry before heading south. Oh, that sound. Oh man, we're gonna get eyed by the thing, aren't we? We absolutely totally are. I just noticed that the area we're flying through is called the Belly, so that's fun. Sea of mist folds about your engine. Everybody, just don't look out the windows. I got an idea. Let's close all the curtains, huh? Let's maybe buy some heavier curtains for the future. Send the cabbie out. Maybe he'll be able to locate the well if it is indeed in this direction. What you got, buddy? Okay, something all the way over there. Well, that suggests to me that we are not going to find anything over here. Oh, there he is. There's our friend. I wonder how explicitly the archivist wrote about that experience. It would be a very efficient, or a very effective way of convincing people not to go into the sky, I think. Okay, let's throw out the scout one more time. I'm starting to feel pretty confident it's not around here. Yeah, he didn't find anything. Alright, let's head... We'll do this. We can swing past Perturance and pick up the port report, and then go to the horror that way. Cryptic Stoker wants to hold a memorial service for the crew that have recently died in your service. Judging by his tattoos and his rattling collection of talismans, the ceremony is unlikely to be Christian. Okay. Well, I am not able to conduct the ceremony myself, as I am not a priest. I think Sister Patel might have some beliefs, but the sort of thing she doesn't talk to people about. And I think because of that, she would approve. Not that she necessarily holds his beliefs, but she would approve of him having his own beliefs. So let's just, let's let him hold his service. A failure. The Cryptic Stoker appears before the gathered mourners with his face painted storm gray and his amulets rattling like distant thunder. He speaks of a storm that remembers, his voice reeling between a croaking approximation of an old woman's voice, a shrill mockery of a child's, and a drawling attempt at a high society patriarch. The crew seem unconvinced by the outlandish ceremony. Perhaps they long for the sober, plodding Sunday services of their youth. Well, 2 terror is not a terrible cost to pay for failure. It is possible it could be over here, like in this area we're just about to head into as well. I feel like at this point, with all the time I spent sailing around trying to find Perturance, I feel like I've been pretty thorough here. Okay, well, there's at least some kind of something of value over on our path. I do wish that the text was, like, outlined a little bit in the mist. But I guess maybe there's something there about it being intentionally hard to read your own thoughts. Jesus Christ, the sound of that. Thing scared the hell out of me. Well, they turn out not to be that tough. Oh, but as long as we're out here, he's going to keep showing up and scaring the bejesus out of us. Both, like, actually frightening me in real life and also increasing our terror. Look at that. He went right into it. Ah, shit. Okay. You know, even a direct hit was not that bad. I detonated that way too early. Yeah, I hate fighting them from directly above or below. I don't get enough time to see the projectile. We gotta swing out to this side, the wide angle of our monitor. And of course, then I end up below him again because I'm dodging into the bad angle. Actually taking kind of a lot of damage here. I think that was a death sound? It was certainly loud as hell, whatever it was. Alright, let's maybe take a trophy on this one. I guess we could keep gaining insight, and we're pretty likely to pass the check. Success will substantially reduce our terror. I'm going to do this. Okay, we actually succeeded this time. Still gained a terror. Its unhuman music rages and sobs. It's not actually new text. Oh, some of it is. They're careful to maintain distance. In abrupt silence, the remains liquefy and dissipate. Any artifacts remaining are too tainted to gather. So this time, we got 5 commingling of choirs. I wonder what happens as we continue to push that upward. Wait a minute. Was that the thing we were missing when we had the encounter with the fluke, with the cult? Was it that I needed the commingling of choirs? Crewman yelps. He swears he saw something stir in the mists below. How could that possibly be? You're being ridiculous. Okay, more uncanny specimens, that's totally fine. It wouldn't be right next to Perturance, right? I mean, I guess we ought to fill out this area. We're over here, and who knows when the next time we'll be back is. We don't necessarily need to do anything at Perturance, although we do have invitations. Oh, actually, can you get around the backside? Okay, yes, this does eventually end. Oh, the camera is... Okay, I'm just gonna... The camera is making it clear to me that I am not to go on in a way that's a little unsettling, probably just because it's different than the way the camera usually behaves. I'm trying to think. I don't think we have anything to do at Perturance. And if we did have anything to do at Perturance, I would have done it the first time I came through here. When we were moving the princess storyline along. But I think we actually have to go into the event in order to write the port report. And honestly, probably doing the event will lower our terror, even though it is kind of a horrible thing. It's remarkable what you can get to finding comforting if it's familiar. My mother chooses who comes here, and who stays. Everything the princess says is so ominous now. Not ominous, threatening. Explicitly threatening. That's the word I want. I think that's supposed to be the sound of, like, people having fun. It sounds a little bit like screams. Okay, a party below the stairs. Let's just hang out with the butlers and maids. So if we gossip with the staff, I'm sure we'll get some salon stewed gossip. If we take tea, we might lose some terror. Oh yeah, quite a bit. You sip your tea and bite down on stolen biscuits, occasionally being propositioned for a dance, or to tell a story of your adventures in the high wilderness. Soon enough, however, the bell rings. Upstairs, Perturance's perfect day begins again. Down here, everyone sighs and readies themselves for hard work. Okay, no, we can write a port report without having to actually go into the whole deal. We do have 2 invitations, so maybe it's worth... Yeah, maybe it's worth doing just for the terror loss. Sure, let's barrel through it real quickly. We've read all the text before. We don't have to spend a lot of time here. So we're really good at veils now. We can win favor with both the servants and the debutantes very easily. Partial success. Got overconfident. The chaperones are more than servants, but decidedly less than debutantes. You are a first-hand witness to their awkward position. A servant makes a claim of impropriety toward a debutante, who laughs it off. The chaperone hurries over to prevent the incident from escalating into a scene, but there are no witnesses. She casts you an imploring look. The consequences will be far less for you, a visitor only here for a day, than for her who must remain here always. Who will you support? Obviously the servant. The debutante flushes and is escorted away by the chaperone. They will miss the evening's ball. The servant thanks you before the chaperone ushers them back to work. Alright, so we move onwards into the afternoon, where we again attempt to charm a chaperone. We're just way more into the servants than we are in the debutantes, but we don't have the hearts to win the servants over individually. Okay, we have 2 servants' favor now. I don't actually know exactly what the mechanics of this place are, and this would probably be a good time to dig into that if I wasn't kind of trying to be in a hurry here. Man, I'm really bad at total success. We happen to be nearby when one of the debutantes is caught beneath a table with a servant. As the chaperones are Man, until it's getting close to time to end the episode. As the chaperones are berating them, you realize how mortified the lovers are at being caught in such dishabille. You shrug off an outer layer and offer it to the servant. They have little enough as it is. At least they should retain their modesty, if they want to. I'm not trying to tell people they gotta be modest. The servant wraps themselves in your garment. They are too mortified for thanks, but another, older servant gives you a grateful nod. Boy, just right under the table in front of everybody, huh? These are two people who have a lot of faith in that tablecloth. The music stops. Somewhere below, a mechanical rumble can be heard as the hour limbs begin spinning Perturance as one perfect perpetual day all over again. Okay, so we've seen all this. And as we're leaving, a servant tugs at your sleeve. You've endeared yourself to those who work below stairs. Servants discreetly share their admiration for your kindness and charm. You try not to let it go too much to your head. There's very little competition in the field of kindness to servants here. You leave richer in gossip and soothed by the distractions of the half-light mask. Okay, we did lose almost all of our terror, which is nice. Alright, let's get the hell out of here. So, our hull's in pretty good shape and we have 0 terror. This is pretty much the best possible time to go check out this... Oh man, should we fly over here first? We'll check it out quickly. There is, unfortunately, a little bit of a limit on my time here, and we are rapidly pressing up against it. But I want to catch as much of the actual exploration on camera as possible. Now, you know what? The dreadnoughts got it. The HML Hippopotamus. Yeah, we have enough fuel and supplies to explore a little bit and get back to London. Not enough to dick around, so we gotta be about the thing that we are about. Well, there is, in fact, something ghastly over there as well. Alright, let's stick to the edge here. The Indigo Soar. I think we should be able to send the caveat one more time. Okay, nothing. Not even a bit of text about how he found nothing. Wild. Well, we're not starving today. Trying real hard not to just slam into a big rock. Ah, Jesus. Should be a little bit more careful. Wow. He was not very hardy at all. Well, we have no options. A faintly luminescent cage full of uncanny specimens. Okay. This could totally be a well. Maybe it is. Maybe I, just barely saw the edge of it somehow? Without realizing what it was? Jesus Christ. What is happening over there? Old, cold ruins stand here. The work of a conquered sun. What is this? Sky Henge? You tether your engine to a circle of menhirs standing on a wide stone ledge. The tallest towers over you, the height of 3 men. You can brush the top of the smallest with your fingers. The rocks are rough and weathered. Far beneath the plain, other vast stone plates turn remorselessly. Here, the megalithic monument is still, but the place feels a kilter. You stumble, as if dizzy. We could whisper a sky story to the tallest stone, for it is said that the stones are lonely. We're seeing a lot more rolls that are just fortune, straight 50%, no affecting it with your stats lately, I feel like. Yeah, sure. Let's tell it a story. We have some stories collected. You lean your head against the cold rock and murmur a tale of adventure to a hollow in the stone. It doesn't take long. You pull back from the menhir. The air hangs still. Nothing. And then someone swears. A stranger staggers toward you from between 2 stones. Their clothes are outdated, the fashion several years old. They head toward you, but you are not the captain they expected. The new arrival is eager to board your locomotive. They'll take any role, just to get away. Huh. Well, that's pretty weird. I guess let's step inside. We don't have a ton of stuff on us. We did pick up some hours from a random rock that we found. Stoker's tales say that if you bring an offering of hours to the circle, you will receive gifts in return. Let's find out if that's true. Sudden snowflakes snag on your eyelashes. The snow is not falling, frozen in place. You cut a tunnel through. Behind you is a moor, blanketed in white. There are no menhirs in sight. Before you is a slab of stone, lit by a final slant of winter sunlight. Around the slab is a gathering of tall beings. Their heads and necks are as long and sinuous as swans, rising from the narrow collars of their white feathered robes. Huh. Yeah, let's give them the hours, I guess, if they want them. This is what the stories say they desire. Let's hope that we've understood those stories correctly. The beings consider you, but say nothing. They wait. Your crew lift the barrel of hours onto the stone slab. A stoker prizes the lid off. As a geode tumbles out, there is a flurry of motion. The translucent beings cluster around the barrel, gathering up the geodes with boneless limbs. They pass them out, cradling each one gently. One being spills a shimmer of bright gemstones, their color riotous in this white place, into your arms. The others begin to croon softly to the hours. Huh. Well, from a financial perspective, that's a pretty fantastic trade. Also, if we had found this place originally, these were really hard to come by for a while. Now we know where we can get them. Creatures are entirely occupied with the hours. They have nothing more for you. Okay. Well, that was a good outcome, I guess. The tunnel you cut through the unfalling snowflakes leads you out. The closer you get to where the stones should be, the more the air thickens, until it feels like fording a river. Abruptly, you are on the other side. Fortunately, your engine is here to greet you. A navigator hurries to meet you, obviously concerned. Whatever the date should be, it is not. I've not been keeping track of the date very closely, so every time it says it is not the date that it was, I just have to trust it. Okay, feels like we could leave now. Well, this is not what I was looking for. It is very interesting, though. Yeah, man, what a weird thing the entire sky is. Well, like I said, I think I'm just gonna call it here. I'll fly over to the relay between the Reach and Pan, and then we'll pick it back up there. Which is to say, that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time when we return to Pan, and probably a whole bunch of more terrible things happen to us. And we'll see you then.